With the Pad 7 and Pad 7 Pro, Xiaomi released two mid-range tablets together that cost $400 and $500 respectively. We reviewed both tablets already, and both got pretty good scores. But how different are they really, and which one is better for whom? That's what you'll learn in our comparison. Actually, most things are the same. The exterior of both tablets are practically identical, save for the 50 megapixel and 12 megapixel markings on the camera bumps of the tablets respectively. They also have the same excellent display and the same quad speaker setup. And if you want to know everything there is to know about the screen and pen, check out our detailed reviews of both tablets, which we published already. You can also get the exact same pen and the exact same keyboard covers for both, and they do both work the same. Let's get into their differences, and that starts with the processor. Being both released in March of 2024, the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 and the 7 Plus Gen 3 chipsets found on the Xiaomi tablets share quite a bit more in common than you might think. Both chips are built on TSMC's 4nm process, and they also share the same processor cores. These processors use the same hybrid architecture with a single large Cortex-X4 CPU core, clocked at 3 GHz on the 8S Gen 3 and 2.8 GHz on the 7 Plus Gen 3 respectively. The four smaller Cortex-A720 cores on both processors again have a small 0.2 GHz clock speed difference, and the three tiny cores only have a 0.1 GHz clock speed difference. But what does this mean? The 7 Plus Gen 3 seems to literally just be a lower clocked 8S Gen 3 with a different GPU. Just going off the clock speeds, the CPU single core and multi-core benchmarks should be only about 7% in the Pad 7 Pro's favor. At least the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 found on the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro has a slightly faster GPU. The Adreno 735 found here clocks up to 1.1 GHz, while the Adreno 372 on the 7 Plus Gen 3 only clocks up to 950 MHz. But let's see if that really makes a large difference in our benchmarks. And our results are not surprising at all. In Geekbench 6, the single core speed of the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro is just under 8% faster than the Pad 7. The multi-core score is only about 4.5% faster, and the GPU score is only 11% faster. I mean, it's not nothing, but you really won't notice these differences in normal use. Xiaomi has bumped up the default storage size on the Pad 7 Pro to 256GB, which is great news if you're looking to install many different games or just plan on downloading lots of lossless music, for example. This makes the $100 price difference quite a bit easier to stomach, considering that the Xiaomi Pad 7 only gets 128GB of slower UFS 3.0 storage as a default, although the 256GB version of the Pad 7 uses UFS 4.0 as well. Additionally, upgrading to 512GB of storage is only possible on the 7 Pro, which increases the RAM from 8 to 12GB as well. But this will cost another $100, bringing the total price up to $600, where other strong competitors like the OnePlus Pad 2 and Honor Magic Pad 2 offer more features like stronger performance or an OLED display. The storage is less at 256 on both competitors though. Let's talk about a difference that you would actually notice: the lack of a fingerprint reader on the Xiaomi Pad 7. Honestly, this is one of the biggest reasons to upgrade to the Pro, at least in our opinion. If you are a person who often uses their tablet lying flat on the table, the facial recognition on the Pad 7 just doesn't quite cut it. Either you have to manually enter your password, which is very tedious, or you need to lift the screen up so that the camera can see your face from a normal angle. The Pad 7 Pro doesn't have these kind of issues because it keeps the trusty fingerprint scanner as well as having facial recognition. Here's another couple of differences. The Pad 7 Pro charges at 67 watts and the Pad 7 at 45 watts. This means that the 7 Pro is able to go from 0 to 100% in an hour, while the 7 needs 1.5 hours. Battery sizes, however, are exactly the same at 8,850 mAh. In our YouTube HD video playback battery test, the Pad 7 Pro is able to last a good 7.5 hours, while the default Pad 7 lasts 15 minutes less with 7.25 hours. In practice, the differences should be barely noticeable, and it's within the margin of error of battery tests anyways. Don't expect either of these tablets to blow your mind in camera tests. The 50 megapixel shooter on the 7 Pro does take pictures with a bit more detail if you really zoom in and compare the pictures side by side, and the larger aperture means it should perform better in worse lighting. However, the differences between the photo quality is minimal, and any modern phone will still take better pictures. The Xiaomi tablet camera app is also way less intuitive than their mobile phone equivalent. Both tablet cameras are honestly good enough to scan a document, which will be the most you'll want to do with them anyways. The selfie cameras are decent on both tablets, but fine details like hair are a bit sharper on the 7 Pro. We would not recommend upgrading to the Pro for the minimal camera improvement. It's not really worth it. Wi-Fi 7 is supported on the Pro, whereas the Pad 7 sticks to Wi-Fi 6E connectivity. We didn't really notice any issues with connectivity and download speeds during testing, so for most, this shouldn't be a deciding factor. So, should you reach for the Pro? There is a specific demographic of people that can really benefit from the upgrades the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro gives you over the standard Pad 7. If you need a lot of storage space and really want a fingerprint reader, the Pad 7 Pro still offers great value as well as a couple other perks like faster charging. But otherwise, we would advise any buyer to rather save their money and go for the $400 Pad 7, considering that the devices are pretty much identical and perform about the same as well. If the Pad 7 Pro only costed about $50 more than the standard Pad 7, we think it would be a far more compelling offer. So keep your eyes open for discounts or price decreases.